Hey guys, Godfather of Anxiety here. I just wanted to do a really short video on the importance of staying busy as it relates to seasonal depression. I figured I'd do this video because, guys, the days are getting shorter, and unfortunately, especially those of us that live a good distance away from the equator, like me here in upstate New York, we have winter coming. And I know that a lot of us struggle with seasonal depression. And this is going to be a really short video, but I want to encourage you guys to think ahead of time about how you're going to maybe not make the same typical mistakes that all of us tend to make when the days get shorter and when the climate changes to one where, certain types of physical activity either become more difficult or impossible to engage in. And thus it affects our social interaction as well. It's all connected. Simultaneously getting less vitamin D, and the bottom line is, these environments are not the healthiest environments to live in for humans, but the one closer to the equator is going to be healthier. But for those of us that don't have that luxury, I just figured I'd give a few tips ahead of time on what you guys can do. So if you don't have a hobby that you can engage in the winter, especially one that involves some type of physical activity or social interaction, now would be a good time to start doing some brainstorming as to what we can do that's different. Because this is what usually happens, guys. I'll give you because I think it happens to so many of us, again, who live in colder climates and whose really our routine changes quite a bit as cold weather approaches. And initially, people end up there. They do the holidays, so that they put on weight, and then their social interaction kind of halts with that. And they're in the winter. They're in their house. They're in their house. It's wintertime. They're not engaging in physical activity like they normally do. They're not even, probably, if they go to the gym. And again, a little bit of this is my own admission. I probably average, 3 times a week when I'm going well. In the summertime, maybe even 4. And then in the wintertime, I'm always very happy if I get to the gym twice a week, guys. Because, it's just more difficult to get out. Whether it's the weather, whether it's, sometimes even the gym's hours are affected by the weather, right? So anyways, you get into this routine where you kind of become a hermit, and it's not deliberate, but then all of a sudden you start really feeling down. You start really feeling your outlook starts to get really bad. And then, if you're on social media, a lot of the time that's not going to help you, because there's 2 things that happen on social media when we're looking at it. We're seeing people in these beautiful locations with Photoshop bodies, and their life is perfect, and we're overweight from the way we've been eating and not exercising. We're huddled up in a house or an apartment, and we're certainly not experiencing the joy they're experiencing, or just the general attitude of social media in general. Sometimes we can get sucked down rabbit holes that we don't want to go down, right, guys? Like, you can get sucked down, whether it's, this can literally be any field now. It could be politics. It can be the latest trends and fads. It can be the latest technology. And while a lot of these things can be interesting and nice little distractions while we're waiting for the weather to get better, we don't want to get too habituated to not being active and engaging our 5 senses. So that's basically what this little short video I'm doing is about. Guys, think of things that'll keep you mentally, physically, and socially engaged in the winter. Arrange for them. Whether if you haven't been going to the gym, start going to the gym now. Get in the habit now, because it's going to be harder if there's snow on the ground or when it's dark out. For me, I do go to the gym when it's dark sometimes, but it is harder. It is harder when the sun goes down. So get in the habit, though, of whether it's going to the gym. Another thing, just because it's cold out doesn't mean you can't go outside. This is something that we end up, for some stupid reason, we think, we think we're going to, freeze to death when we go outside. Dress for the weather and get out there. And again, guys, you don't have to climb the south face of Everest. All you have to do is maybe take your dog for a walk around the block on a day when, we had about 2.5 weeks last winter where literally there was no choice. You were inside. It's the worst I've ever seen it. It was sub-zero temperatures with 40-mile-an-hour winds and precipitation. That's when I fell on the ice and tore my rotator cuff. But other than those days, when it's like that, when you really don't have any recourse, go for a walk, get out, go to the grocery store, if whatever. With so many people now, they have their groceries delivered, or they do something to increase your physical activity. And again, I don't care if you're 70 or if you're 17. You want to stay physically and mentally active in the wintertime. And this is really going to help you to avoid seasonal depression. And then this is the big component too. Don't let the bad weather deprive you of your social interaction. I don't care if it's a karaoke night. I don't care what it is. Get together, video games, get together with your friends and family. Because, guys, if you've been on this earth very long, you realize it's not always so much about what we're doing and how exciting or great it is. It's the people that we do it with, right? Watching a movie can be really enjoyable, but I enjoy it so much more, especially certain types of movies I like to watch with certain people, right? Comedies, there's people in my family I love to watch certain comedies with. And then maybe a dramatic or a romantic movie, that would be something more I would watch with my wife. Or, it's the people we're spending time with, I remember a long time ago, I hung out with a group of friends, and they were good friends. They really were. I kind of met them through some interesting circumstances. But anyways, they said, if we've got $5 in a McDonald's, we can have a good time. Because we would literally, this is when I was in my early 20s. We would just, maybe go to a movie, and then afterwards just sit in a McDonald's for an hour, hour and a half, just joking, talking about life, talking about our friends, so you don't need something amazing to keep you from, really, again, a lot of what goes on with seasonal depression does have to do with, our brain's chemistry. And so this is going to be harder for some people. And I'm not going to pretend like if you just stay busy and, if you just stay busy and you do certain things, that you're not going to get seasonal depression. So don't take that, like I've cracked the code on seasonal depression. That's not what this is about. But what it is about, guys, is if you do these things ahead of time, get in a good routine of exercise, social interaction with your friends and your loved ones. If you, physically active, get out, get in the fresh air, get in the sun, engage the senses. Don't get into the terrible habits that we always get into in the wintertime, where we just basically become hermits who huddle up in our house and maybe stop at a convenience store on our way home from work to get a coffee or something. Guys, I know there's days when that's what you're going to have to do, right? I understand that. But have stuff planned for the other days. And it does not have to be something big or something that costs money. Hanging out at your aunt or your uncle's or your mom or dad's or whoever it is, just keep socially engaged. If there's you could fitness classes, you could join fitness classes, you could do another good thing is a hobby. Maybe you want to learn an instrument. The best time to learn an instrument is when you can't get outside. There's really good online instructors now too. So if you guys want to learn something like that, that would be a great thing. And really what we want to do is we want to stay out of the hopeless mode, and we want to keep our social connections. That is the best thing we're going to be able to do to keep ourselves from falling into a deep state of seasonal depression. So those are just my ideas on it, guys. Again, some of us are still going to need medication to get through this. Some of us, it's not going to matter what we do. Although I will say this, doing those things, even if you're feeling pretty clinically depressed, will be helpful, because they will provide engagement and distraction. And that's very important, whether we're anxious or depressed. So that's about all I wanted to say in the video. Guys, just, again, plan ahead of time. Don't fall into the same bad habits that we fall into seemingly every winter. We don't have to. It's not foreordained, okay? We are who we choose to be to a great extent. So get some things set up so that you can stay busier this winter. And again, it doesn't have to be something that involves money. It can involve a walk around the block. It can involve just something where you're more engaged and less, just huddling in a cabin somewhere. So thanks so much, guys. Boy, do I appreciate the engagement with the channel. It's been amazing, and please keep the comments coming. I love the engagement, because my whole purpose of this channel is to help people with mental health issues, specifically anxiety and depression issues. And when people are willing to share what they're going through in their lives, battling anxiety and depression, you don't know how many people you're helping, guys. You're helping people, because so many people don't even want to admit that they're battling these things. So that's so brave when you do that, and it helps our community out. And I really appreciate it. It makes me feel good about where the channel's heading. So thanks so much. And until my next video, take care.